Hello, Oracles. Welcome to our Friday Night Fun Open Forum 10,000 subscriber celebration. Tonight, we're going to have a bunch of people joining us, rolling in and out. We've got Vin here, who is a regular, you know Vin. And then we've got a subscriber here, Raheel. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thanks for having me on, Tim.
Yeah, no problem at all. My goodness. So good evening. Yes, good evening, Mike. Let's rock and roll, Mike. Let's go. All right. So how's everybody's Friday? Mine here in Connecticut, it was almost 65 degrees. I work in construction retail, and you could just imagine what construction retail in November or in February would be like on a day like today. It's quite busy. Man,
I can imagine, but nice weather probably felt good. Better
if I got outside.
negative.
I got outside for about a minute and a half. It kind of sucked. I wish I was outside for more of it, but that is okay.
That always makes it harder.
So I don't know if you guys saw the newest picture of the Cybertruck behind us right here. So that is the latest, and so I threw out a tweet just later this afternoon. It's like the Chuck Norris of trucks. I'm like, oh my god, it's Truck Norris.
Yeah, I had to bust out my T-shirt for it.
Nice
for the 10K subscriber celebration.
Oh, I love it.
Happy to be here for it.
And thank you guys all for subscribing. This has been a heck of a journey. And I got to thank huge props to Vinny. He was one of the first ones. He was the actual first one to have me on his channel and interviewed me. And I felt like a big star. It was awesome. And he gave me that inspiration to keep this thing going. So huge congrats and thanks to Vin. And if you guys are not subscribed to his channel, please make sure you do so.
Glad I could play a very small part in your blossoming channel here. It's been awesome to watch it grow. I remember our first video we did, I think, was when you had maybe 2,000 or 3,000 subs, maybe even less.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a crazy about a year, I guess we've been doing this now.
Yeah. Actually, it was almost a year. I'll have to go back and see when our first live stream was. February. About a year. Oh, and Peggy, dude, it's late over there. It's like 2 a.m. for Peggy. Thank you. Yes, thank you, my friend.
I want to add, Tim, 10K is the hardest, right? The next 10K will be way more quicker.
That's what I've been hearing. Yeah. So that's what I'm going with. And I know like when it goes with the YouTube algorithms, they do different things. And I know from what I've heard, even 10,000 is a small channel for YouTube. And I get it. Like there's some big players out there as well. So just to be able to be a part of this and a part of the community is pretty awesome.
I would have to think 10K, you're like already in the top 10% probably though, or I'd have to look at the numbers, something crazy.
Yeah, I'd have to check on that and see where that's at. I don't even know. I've just been, coming on here, just doing my thing, staying consistent, trying to give you guys the best content I can and getting better.
As I'm going here, I keep thinking of the first couple episodes. I guess we're going to have to do like a 1-year anniversary for that too. But our first video that Tim and I did, I just like cold DM'd him on Twitter. And I remember at the time I was on my way back from a road trip from Florida to New York. I was literally in a Myrtle Beach hotel room with 2 dogs and trying to record these videos, my girlfriend in the background. And that was where Oracle Investment Club was born.
Yes. Oh my God. It was so funny. And like my backdrop, that's when I still had the, like this picture here, that was my whole backdrop. Oh man.
I can't wait to see the evolution of the backdrop. Yeah. It's, you've been doing nice stuff.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Actually, let's get into this because this is a question that I had. So Karav, have I gotten an updated delivery window? So Karav's Model Y has updated from changed to April 23rd to June 4th. I got to check. They haven't even given me a window of time. As of right now, it's still March to May. So I've got to go in there and see if they have changed that. And I've actually been contemplating because now that we're seeing these 4680s in inventory, I know it's lower range, but it's $4,000 less. It's white, and I don't want white, but I do plan on getting it wrapped. And, around here, I think I can get a wrap for like $6,000, and then I can get it whatever color I want. So I'm like, which way do I go? Do I want to go with the lower range? And I have this sneaking suspicion that they're going to have a software lock on the 4680s. Yeah. So anybody who wants to upgrade and say, hey, I want to take this to a long range and be 330 miles, you can do it. So, you guys can, I don't know if you guys feel that way as well, but
Tim, let me add a couple of things. I think the 4680 is a structural battery pack. And it feels like that car is a better car than the current Model Y long range that's built in Fremont and also in Austin. I don't know,
Right.
what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I was thinking the same thing, and that's kind of where I was at, is like, it's not just the battery itself, it's the structural
Mhm.
battery pack. And, you know, even though it's Tesla, my other thoughts are, I know it's been in production for almost a year now, but even early production stuff does have kinks to get worked out of it. So are they all worked out of it now? And that I don't know. And that's kind of like the gamble I'm playing with right now is, have they perfected this, or at least gotten it significantly better than it was before? I mean, look at the Model 3 when it came out, all the issues they had. Obviously, you know, within a year or so, they worked most of those out. But are they still working that out with the 4680 structural pack? And that I don't know. And
That's a good point.
and I don't know if there's enough on the road right now for people to give us feedback on that. So I mean,
Did
I'm
you
open,
get
and for me right
FSD?
now, like, I've got my window of time, but I'm not hell bent on getting it right now. Seeing the stock price, seeing where we're at, I almost still want to keep on investing in the stock and not a car because I don't need one.
Fair
Yeah,
point.
Yeah, it's kind of been my dilemma. Were you going to get FSD with it?
no. So what I'm going to end up doing, because my son is learning how to drive, as most of you guys know. So I've been literally comparing him to FSD. Now, I haven't been in FSD for about 3 or 4 weeks now. So my plan is going to be is get my vehicle, and then I'll do the monthly subscription of FSD, and I'll be able to be live, and I'll do, like, I'll have him drive, and then I'll be able to do the exact same route, because the way he and I go on Wednesday evenings is the exact same way that I go home. So I'll have him drive there, and I can, you know, compare that to how FSD drives the exact same route and really compare the two of them. So that is my goal. So I'll just do a monthly subscription on it. I don't have the 15 grand to drop on it right now. The monthly payments, even if I put 10 grand down, Tesla's going to offering me 4,200 for my trade-in. So even with that, I'm still paying like $760 a month. It's ridiculous. And financing is 5.44% for me right now. So it's come down, but still really high.
Where do you think, where is the evolution of FSD? Your son got his license. So is it just past the permit test? Is it first year driver? How's it looking? What do you guys think?
Based upon the ride that I was on for FSD, it's got its permit. So I mean,
That's
literally
pretty fast, you know? Takes humans 16 years. It got there in a few.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally the first time I went out with him, I was like, I would have probably been more comfortable in FSD. Not kidding. I would have been more comfortable being in the FSD vehicle. Now with him driving, it's pretty comparable. So I'd say FSD is pretty much the same as him. He's learned how to park. That's a bonus. So like the first time was questionable, but yeah, they're pretty comparable right now. And so I know Elon said that it's been more challenging than they thought. So 11.3.2 or something, that should be coming out hopefully soon.
So here's my take, Tim. Your son
Yeah.
will improve faster than FSD for now. And then after a few years, when FSD is fully solved, oh man.
Oh
It's-
yeah. Oh,
it's-
that's so true. And I don't know if it was
it's-
you who commented or if it was somebody else who said that exact same thing. And that's what's going to happen is he'll learn faster, but over time, FSD is going to become better than 95% of the drivers on the road anyway. So that's what's going to end up happening is it's going to be better than most people, regardless of how much experience you have driving. It's just going to make better decisions. It's going to be a better driver.
And it's consistent. Like you and I,
Right.
when we're driving, sometimes we're tired, we're not paying attention, and we make an incorrect or bad decision. With FSD, there is no bad decision. It's consistently consistent.
Oh, exactly. And then I thought about it too, is whenever I'm on the highway, I always put it in cruise control. So I'm doing the same exact speed, and the amount of times cars are, you know, moving back and forth and forward. And I was like, and then they get mad at me because I'm passing them. I'm like, dude, I was like, I haven't changed speed. It's all you. And FSD won't have that. FSD is going to be consistent speed the whole time.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Raymond, who was the first subscriber? Can't imagine it lasted all that time with Tim. So realistically, this channel I started back in 2013. I didn't do anything with it. Around 2017, I actually started doing like workout stuff. I was getting, I was a beach body coach. I'm still technically am. So I'm a beach body coach, and I was training for a bunch of races. So I was doing some videos then, and I really just kind of had like family and friends and a couple of clients. So when I really started rolling with this last year, 2 years ago, so it was beginning of October of 2021 is where it really started taking off. I had 56 subscribers at that point. And so the first ones I had, I know Jerry Barnes, he was actually the first ever subscriber. I had a giveaway for 1,000 subscribers, and he was the first one to win. So Jerry won that. And he's still a subscriber today. We chat all the time, so it's awesome. So thank you, Jerry, if you're watching. And then Vin was one of the early ones. Let me see, trying to see who's in here. Dean's been around for a while. Let me go through here. Karav's been around for a while, and Karav's been my boy. If you guys don't follow Karav, he's awesome with numbers. He's my son's age. Kid's brilliant. So definitely follow him on Twitter. Let me see who else on here has been around for a while. Oh, yep. And then 1977 Sith Lord, he actually sent me my first red shirt when I was trying to go with the red and green shirts for when we were going green or red. And I know we were red today and I'm wearing green, but we're celebrating, so get over it. So Sith Lord here sent me my first shirt, so thank you so much for that.
My background works this time. Finally a red day.
Yes. So is that a light that you have, or is that a background screen?
So it's just a bunch of red lights that I have, and I just pointed them up, and we're going with it for now while I finish setting up this new studio. It's good for Sith Lord. There you go. Perfect. 1977 Sith Lord.
Oh, absolutely.
This could be your background.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Oh, here's Farzad. Farzad, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. And Peggy and I are looking to do a live stream with Farzad. As of right now, we're looking at February 22nd. We'll keep you guys posted on that. We're going to do a little get together there. We got Jay Lizard in the house. Thank you, my friend. Oh, here's Brian. Sorry, Brian. I don't know how long you were here. It wasn't even flagging on my radar.
That's all right. I figured, might as well make the rounds today. Got to congratulate you, Tim. Good work. And here's to the next 10,000.
Yes, thank you.
That much quicker.
Oh, yeah. And Brian's pushing close to 20,000 himself. So nice work, my friend.
Yeah, it's tough. It's painful. It's a lot of work.
It is work, but it's worth it.
And it's fun.
Well, and is work supposed to be fun? I've had jobs. They ain't nothing but work.
Well, that's the difference between a job and a lifestyle. If you pick your lifestyle, everything's going to be work, but if you enjoy it, then it's not really work.
Well, it's tough because a lot of the people that you and I are competing against, and for that matter, Farzad too, are people who are like independently wealthy, and they can do whatever they can. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
My only saving grace is I've got a cajillion frequent flyer miles that I'm burning through to get to all these different events.
Brian, if you hold on to your stocks, we will all be independently wealthy soon enough.
Oh yes.
It's in my retirement though, so I can't touch it for a while.
Okay.
But that's all right. Yeah.
That's okay.
I got in at a good time.
Oh yeah. And then today we're
Brian,
pulling back that's okay.
Brian, when's the Tesla mustache coming back?
I don't know. It was a lot of work, and it was a lot of work to keep it. And I must have made 250 videos before anyone actually said anything about it. Because for 2 years,
everyone's on their little mobile phone.
Yeah. And I'm usually in the corner of the screen anyway. But it was, yeah.
That is one of the challenges that I face too. Is because like Vin said, everybody's on their phone. So when I'm trying to do, share screen stuff, I got to try to make sure, it's big enough for everybody to see.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff to learn when you're a content creator for sure. And the more time you have, the more you can learn. Like Farzad has taken himself, he's learned a lot. So I've been learning a lot from him as well. And Brian's got some good stuff.
Yeah.
So Brian, you're going down to Investor Day, right?
I'm going to Investor Day. There's going to be a few different events there.
Yep.
There's going to be the watch party at 4:00 at Clive Bar. And we're having a separate event at noon, about 5-10 miles away at a park that we'll have speakers. We've got some pretty cool folks lined up, and we've got prizes and pizza and all that. And it's, of course, a free event. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know. Sandy's going to be there. Farza, they're doing a whole big thing. There's a whole lot of different events, and I was bummed because I've got the week off before that. The week before March 1st, I have the whole thing off, and then we're supposed to be taking my son to go see college, and then that got moved to the Saturday. So I realistically don't even need the week off. I just took it because I wanted some time off, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bump it, but then trying to spend money to go down there, and I've got other things that I'm trying to take care of as well. So, and then as Omar said, sometimes it's better to do it from home and watch the live stream, because watching it from the live stream is you get a little better view of everything that's going on, but you don't get the same energy. That's the difference.
Well, and
So what do
it
you
sounds
think?
like
We
there'll
just
be
got
sounds like there'll be a chance to go through the factory to some extent, and in that there is no substitute for being there.
True. Very true.
You were going to say?
what do you think? We got Master Plan 3 also dropping Investor Day. What do you guys think that's going to be all about?
So my theory is the phrase of the day is massive scale. We've got to see the scale be huge, and there's a few ways to do that. Power walls are part of it. Mega packs are part of it. I think what we're going to see is a future with vehicle to grid charging, because then you're cranking out, how many 3-4 mega pack sized equivalents in a day, just in cars, just in each factory, probably. I've got the numbers here somewhere. It's going to be my show topic for tonight.
That's interesting. And if Ford can do it, everybody else can too.
Oh yeah, it's not difficult. It's just you need different chips for bidirectional charging, and it's a couple of $100, $100 probably in parts they would need, and then times millions of vehicles. You have to actually have a value to it, so you're not just adding parts for the sake of adding them for the 0.5% of consumers who will actually use it on a regular basis without a power plant scale benefit.
But don't you need something else in your home too?
Oh, sure. The actual installation, you have to get an electrician to make it so that it can feed backwards. I believe there is a hardware element at the house as well. But I imagine if your utility provider wants you to do this, that they would either pay for it or offer some kind of incentive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking with Investor Day, when we're looking at mass scale, it's going to be three main focuses. First is going to be vehicles. We saw the poster for it. Looks like some, with Gen 3 platform, I have no doubt that's going to be something that's going to be that mass scale vehicle. Then energy is another huge piece of it. And then for both of those, it's going to be batteries, because you're going to need the batteries at mass scale to be able to reach both of those. So I think those are going to be the three main components of the mass scale for Investor Day. And as we know, next year is going to be the year of the 4680, which we thought was this year, but hey, better late than never. It's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Well, and it is here this year.
True.
Just
not
we've got a lot of year left.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of year left. So,
speaking of scale, Toyota has a goal to deliver a grand total of 40 EVs this year. That's almost competing with that's beating GM's Q4 of 2021. Wow.
Well, it's more lyrics than they sold last quarter. It's actually more than the annualized rate of lyrics they sold last quarter.
And this is why GM decided they're going to go with a V8 engine again.
Well, and this is why they're making the Hummer SUV, their second variant of the e-Hummer, rather than focusing on, get your truck out, get your car, get a compelling car. I mean, do anything other than that.
Oh yeah.
Why would they do that? Isn't there whopping demand for a mass GM truck?
Well, for a pickup truck, yeah, why wouldn't they? And the answer is they can't do it profitably. And it's not going to eat into Tesla's sales. It's going to eat into their own sales, which in the V8 space, they're wildly profitable. It's their bread and butter. And now they're gonna.
Well, see, Vin, it's all relative. They cannot keep up with demand. 100 people want them, and they can only produce 58.
Yeah, they are leading after all.
Yes.
Good Lord, Mary. Mary's the leader. At least we can all agree.
Oh, yes. And actually, speaking of the ICE side of OEMs, I can't disclose too much information, but I have some inside information about an OEM that is struggling to get some significant parts for vehicles. And so they are in some areas closing down production because they cannot get these parts.
Hello, Hindenburg Research.
Well,
Yeah.
I have someone I can call to find out who that is, I bet.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and I don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, as far as I knew, I thought supply chain issues were alleviating, but apparently they are not. So,
it depends which part, I guess.
True, yes.
A lot of the older, like 90 nanometer chips are just not in production anymore. So they're difficult, if not impossible, to get. And their manufacturers are not always nimble enough to pivot when they need to get something new in the vehicle. You know,
That
we
makes
saw
sense, and they've got way more parts too, and then there's only an increased likelihood of one of those parts is not available.
Yeah, we saw when Tesla was dealing with their own chip shortage, they used 19 different replacement chips over the course of a year or two in production, because they'd call up and say, we need 50,000 of these, and they'd say, we don't got them. We got some of these. And they're like, ship it. We'll have the firmware written by the time it gets here.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they would replace 2 chips with one better chip to control 2 things instead of 1.
Oh, what do we got, Jay? Tweet just posted Super Bowl spoiler alert. Oh, so actually, speaking of spoiler alerts for the Super Bowl, did you guys see that meme that's going around? Because people talking about how the NFL is rigged, and it's all it's almost like the WWE where it's all scripted. They know what's going to happen the entire time, and they know who the winner is going to be. And so the final score is 37-34 Eagles is what this is saying. So we'll see if that plays out to be true.
Well, the odds are non-zero. It's a Hail Mary pass, baby. But if by chance that's the actual score, somebody's going to be on every morning show next week.
Oh yeah, and it even broke it down by quarter, all the points and everything. So
that's too detailed. Now you've gone too far. Now you've made it impossible.
Oh yeah,
it's fun because all these ads are Tesla ads.
Oh yeah, oh exactly. Like here, Kevin Bacon's doing a commercial for Hyundai. We know that Will Ferrell's doing one for GM. So again, we saw what happened last year during the Super Bowl with all the ads. Tesla search went through the roof and sales went through the roof. So thank you to everyone. And Farzad had made that joke that, all the advertisers, thank you for advertising for Tesla, GM, VW, Hyundai.
Yeah, the Super Bowl effect. And I really wonder, is that as simple as I imagine it is, that people see all these electric vehicles, they Google best electric vehicle, and what website do they end up on? Like, is that all it comes down to?
Yeah. I mean, really, because think about who's producing the most. I mean, Hyundai, I guess, is doing relatively well. But from what I have seen, the product, like when you look at the inside of it, my first reaction was, this is like when BlackBerry tried to do a touchscreen. It's an old manufacturer trying to do new technology, and they just couldn't do it. And that's exactly what it looked like. And we've seen it with Ford. Like, I think it was Ford who put knobs on the touchscreen. Are you kidding me?
At least they're trying.
Going backwards.
Yeah.
Right? Unlike some other manufacturers.
What would you say to the people, the bears out there who say, yeah, that's all well and good with phones, but we're talking about these complex, hard to make, ginormous cars here that go for 50,000 instead of 500.
So what I would say to that is the ads we saw last year weren't selling cars. They were selling the idea of cars. And if you're only selling the idea of a car, any car will do the job, especially if the lifestyle you're selling is electric. And, it's just sad watching the junior varsity team get destroyed by professional ball players.
Brian, when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind is, whenever you're watching a commercial for McDonald's, how many times have you gone into a McDonald's and had your burger look like the commercial burger?
Oh, I'm confident I can say 0. I'm going to say I've had a couple that looked really good, but not like the commercials.
And that's exactly what it's going to be like from last year, with the concept of here's the idea, to this year, and this is the reality of, oh, that's what we got. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you look at
that's good.
Any concept car compared to the actual production car, it's night and day, unless it's a Cybertruck.
And Elon did confirm that it will have the light bar in the back. That made me excited. So that was that was the one thing that a lot of people pointed out was, oh, there's no light bar. I want that light bar. And Elon said production will have the light bar.
Will it have the one up top in the front?
That I
Remember
don't
that?
know. I don't know if it's going to go Knight Rider in that fashion, but it's definitely going to have the one on the back for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's a car that doesn't have a logo because it don't need one.
Doesn't need one.
'Cause you will ask one time, what is that? And you will never forget.
Oh yeah, and that's one
Yeah,
thing that
we thought the old models sold themselves.
Oh, I know. And that's one thing that somebody had mentioned was, like there was a concept out there that was a Rivian type style truck. It was a really nice looking truck. And somebody said, hey, if you made one look like this, a lot of people would buy it. Not going to say that's not true, but you know what people are going to remember? The Cybertruck. You have to make something that stands out so much from everything else that, like Brian said, you're never going to forget it.
I want to say that was going around with the Nikola Badger before they decided they were going to go into production on it. It's a good looking truck. It's one of the best trucks you can get on Fiverr.
If you guys don't know what Fiverr is, it's a place that you can go and get yourself some. Actually, I've gotten the logos, the badges that I have for all of you guys as members. I got those on Fiverr, so they make a whole lot of little things for you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, my original thumbnail and logo and all that were from Fiverr.
Yeah. So anybody who's a content creator
or stuff on
anybody
Fiverr,
who's doing stuff like that,
garbage.
Oh yeah, anybody who's doing stuff like that, totally worth it. Like there's some great talent on there, and you can get some stuff for great deals. So I do highly recommend going on there. But when it comes to making an actual vehicle, no, thank you.
And Tesla has their own design studio. They've got Franz von Holzhausen is arguably the most influential designer in all of the EV world. He was the one who came up with the hollow cutout in the charger. Now everyone's doing that.
Oh yeah.
If you look at all the Chinese knockoffs, they're all Tesla inspired. Clearly. So it's and so what percentage of the world's EVs were either designed by him or stole design elements from him?
Oh yeah, and even all the Chinese automakers are all going over to the Gigapress also. I mean, it makes the most sense. I mean, why would you not? If you see somebody who's being extremely successful in a certain way, do what they're doing, and you can still do it your own way. I mean, look at all of us here who are content creators for Tesla. We follow, what people who are successful are doing, but we just do it in our own way. And there's no reason you can't be successful with that. So why would you not want to follow? I don't know.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
I'll be that Smurf. I'm okay with that. Oh yeah. Raymond Franz is a world champion. Sledgehammer.
The man's got balls of steel. You got to give him that.
And he swung those balls right into a bulletproof window and still broke it.
The window isn't bulletproof. The stainless is. There was a I want to say Motor Trend or something misquoted it, and now of course all the geniuses on Twitter and Reddit who love to criticize latch onto that and say, no, Elon said the glass was going to be. No, he didn't. Motor Trend is lazy and didn't fact check.
What are you saying? Mainstream media didn't
being
do
unfair?
Research?
They're not being. It's not that they were unfair. They were lazy because everything is a rush to get it out, get the maximum clicks. Just get it done, get it out, move on.
Yeah, and if one person, they were about to click send, and then they saw, that's actually not true, just send it anyway, get more clicks.
Oh yeah.
Well, it used to. So I was quoted. I was featured in an article on the Wall Street Journal years ago before I started my channel about Tesla investing, and she interviewed me for about a half hour by phone, and then when she was writing up the story, she emailed me and said, I need to fact check the following things before I can include them in the story. All the way down to that I have a tattoo with a Tesla logo. And she's like, I know that you can say that, but I actually need to see a picture of it.
It depends where it is.
Yeah. So she was actually fact checked. All these other people, like the story about the emerald mines, his dad said that in an interview. It's not true in any traditional sense. There might be some nuggets in there that actually are, but Business Insider should have fact-checked his statement. A follow-up question, can you tell me the name of the mine or where it was located, would have answered all of it.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't. And reporters have been digging for years to try and find it, and they can't because it doesn't, if it existed, it didn't exist in any way that he described it. And Business Insider's defense is, I don't have to tell you what's going on with that. I don't have to fact check it. I just have to report it honestly, which I did.
Raheel, my friend, he's got to get out. He's got to go take care of the kids.
Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you on here, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, take care, guys.
So yeah, and it's kind
now
of
we
like,
begin the party.
It's kind of like when you're watching a movie that's based on a true story, and there's like one small nugget of information that it was based off of, and they fabricated everything else off of it.
I heard that about Imitation Game, and that there were two things that were true about it, and only two, and that's there was a man, and his name was Alan Turing. The rest of it was pretty much made up.
Yeah, there was
I thought
actually
the same way about The Greatest Showman with Barnum and Bailey.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Well,
yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
So there was an article I just saw yesterday that I can't remember if it was for Tesla or something, but the number was 15,000, and they threw in an extra zero, so the headline showed 150,000, and when you click into the article, it shows 15,000. So I'm like, did they accidentally or purposely put 150,000 down and be like, oh, sorry, we didn't check that before it went out? Because they knew that would get a lot more clicks immediately before they had to, let me retract that and update it and edit it.
Yeah, we weren't lying. It was a typo.
Yeah. Oh, so here's a good question for you guys. Jerry Barnes, and Jerry, if you weren't on before, thank you. You were my first winner of a giveaway. So it's awesome to have you still with us. So any Q1 delivery estimates from you guys?
Nope. I don't do them this early. No.
I said the only rough one I have is 450,000. 450,000 right now is what I've got as a rough, but sort of like Brian, I haven't really dialed in numbers yet. I'm on vacation in 2 weeks, so I'm going to really dial in then. And then from there on through the last month, I'll start really kind of tweaking the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you said you're thinking about doing the standard range instead of the long range?
So it's
the
a
range
thought.
difference is only about 40 miles. It's not a huge difference.
Right. And so the range isn't so much a big deal for me. On Jerry's here at 465. Nice. So the range for me isn't a huge concern. And I looked, I was like, I could save $4,000, which is nice. I am planning on getting it wrapped. So if I do get it wrapped, I could probably get it wrapped for $6,000. So I'm really only spending $2,000 more, and I get the 4680 with structural pack. I would love to have that. Now, my question is, have they worked out the little bit of bugs that we would see from, earlier production on this? And I don't know as well, are they going to do a software unlock on this? Is it something where, hey, a year down the road, when they do get to higher production, and all of a sudden I can be like, oh, you know what? I want to come out here and bumped up to 330 miles. Anthony, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, Tim. How you guys doing? Sorry for being late.
No, not a problem. It's an open door tonight.
Fine,
Everybody
baby.
can come and go as they
Fine.
please.
How's it going?
Good. We were just chatting about my decisions, whether I'm going to be sticking with my long range Model Y or going over to the 4680 rear all-wheel drive and going with the standard range. So trying to make that decision. I mean, it's only $250 I put. Actually, I should ask Tesla as an option if I can change from my current order to the 4680 without losing my deposit.
You want to hear my mistake with that? So I had my long range Model Y pre-order when it was like at 50, I think it was 52,000, I believe. And then I was anticipating the 4680. And I live in California, I live in the Bay Area. And long and behold, they released it in Texas. And the cars that I'll be getting is a long range. So I actually canceled that lower price point to make a new reservation when they raised the price again. So that was my mistake. But then I didn't get the car and then they raised the price again to the highest point this past couple of months before the price decreased. And I was super excited that I was like in that mid tier, even though I didn't get the lower end, but I get right in the middle. And then after I got my delivery, the prices dropped. I'm like, what a roller coaster. Yeah, man, the 4680 sounds super interesting from a structural pack perspective, from a guy that's really enjoy the technology aspect of it. So just going along for the ride. So either one, I think it's all great.
That was sort of like with mine when I initially, it was November of 2021, I placed my original order and it was a 1-year lead time. Then come March, I was like, you know what, let me throw FSD on there and just see how much it's going to bump up lead time. And it was ready immediately. I was like, oh crap. I was like, I'm not ready for it yet though. So I took FSD off and it bumped it back out until March of the following year. And then the price went up. So I was kind of in your situation. My initial price was like, I think 56,000. And then when I redid it, it ended up being 59,000. So I bumped up by the $3,000. Then of course, by the time it was ready, you know, the price had gone up to 66,000. I'm like, dang, I was like, do I take it? Do I not? And at this point, I'm glad I didn't. But as Gavin says here, Tim's never going to take delivery. Well, I mean, if we're in a situation where the stock is as cheap as it is, I'd rather put my money into that. I mean, I look back to all the people I talked to back in 2012 who were like, they bought the Model S, which is awesome. And as others have pointed out, if people weren't buying the vehicles, we wouldn't have the stock price where it is. But they all said, you know, if they took that money and put it in the stock, 10 years later, they could have bought 10 of those vehicles. So
interestingly, I have a friend in Australia who runs a little Turo kind of fleet, his own company there. And him and his buddies pooled their resources. They said, we've each got a Tesla and we're each going to buy one more Tesla. So the 6 in the fleet total. And when it came time to buy it, they said, should we buy the FSD or, and this is in mid 2019, should we buy stock with it instead? And they put what, 8,000 each into the stock. And it's now what, 15x?
Yeah.
So that's how they're expanding their fleet today.
That's right before the jump. Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm at is like, I don't need a vehicle. And if I'm anticipating that the market's going to turn around and kind of start going back up by the end of this year, beginning of 2024, do I want to take, you know, it's going to be like $750 a month that I can put into the stock, or do I want to put that into a vehicle that I don't need? And that's really where I'm torn. So I may do a little test. I'll see what they can do about switching over to the 4680. And then who knows, maybe by the end of the year, they announce that smaller vehicle and I can get one for $30,000. Like I'd love a Model Y, but I don't need a Model Y. If I get the same technology and the same feel, I mean, right now I'm driving basically like a Matchbox car. So it's, you know, a cardboard box on wheels. I have a base model Honda CR-V. It gets me from point A to point B, and it's a solid vehicle. Honda makes a good motor on that thing. So I don't need anything right now, and I can get something cheaper later and save more money and invest more.
I think you're going to have to wait for the Cybertruck. I know you need a bulletproof car.
Well, and yeah, that's a great point. For those of you guys who don't know, my vehicle right now, ironically, I named it Vinny because my grandfather's name was Vincent, and at my brother's wedding, it was a New Year's Eve 20s themed wedding, and there was a shooting at the hotel right next to where we were at, and my car took a few shots, so I've got bullet holes in the back of my car right now.
Well, the same car you're currently on right now.
Yeah. So the one I've got right now. So it's so funny because I was talking to one of the guys at my job, and I was like, I don't know if I want to take it to my job now because I kind of work in a rougher area, and there's been a shooting where I work. And they're like, yeah, but you got to get bullet holes in it, just like your other car. I'm like, I don't want bullet holes in my Tesla, thanks.
Well, you can get the stickers.
I thought about that, yes. Part of the wrap that I get, I'll have them make sure there's bullet holes in it.
Talking about shooting, actually, I'm sure you guys heard of the Monterey Park shooting recently in the news, the mass shooting. One of my wife's coworker, dad was actually a victim. And we live here in Oakland, and unfortunately on the freeway, there's always stray bullets that hits and kill people on the freeway. So that's one of the reasons why I put down for a Cybertruck. Like, I'm not a truck guy. I've never owned a truck. I've never thought about owning a truck, but just that one feature, especially with a child, I think it makes a huge difference for anyone with the family, with a child, to especially in this environment where where I live as well. It's kind of unfortunate, but
yeah,
it's actually a great feature.
And I know somebody was talking about it on Twitter earlier about, can't wait to see the crash test features for the Cybertruck. Thinking about the safety features for all the other vehicles, obviously safest vehicles on the road. Where is Cybertruck going to land amongst all of those? I would imagine it's going to be even better.
What I think is what I hope to see when they do crash testing for trucks, they don't test them in a lot of real world scenarios. They test them as if they were being used like a car. And a lot of times a truck isn't. You load it full of gravel. If you get in an accident, everything changes.
Oh yeah.
And I think a Cybertruck, the way it's built, the way it's designed, that it would survive in ways that that a traditional pickup wouldn't. In a traditional pickup, all that cargo is coming right into your cab.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it would with a Cybertruck.
No, and it's funny you say that, because being in the industry that I'm in with construction retail, what I'm interested in seeing, and I know the first ones that are going to be sold out there are going to be Tesla owners. They're going to be people who are not buying it for the functionality of the vehicle. So I'm waiting for us to get to that point where we have these trucks on job sites to see how they are performing versus other trucks. And that is exactly what we're going to see is, hey, this has a full load of something. It's towing something. It got into an accident. How did it handle that accident versus other normal trucks? And I think that'll be a big telltale sign for when we get to that point.
Yeah, I think the business case for a Cybertruck is almost the same as the semi truck, right? From a business perspective, if you're a construction owner or anything like that, it just makes sense, right? If you're saving on fuel costs. Two, like it can take a bang and a beating day in and day out without maintenance, and then you can send a bunch of guys out with that to the construction site or any probably hazardous site to work on with the car, right? No problem, because apparently it's designed for Mars, right? So with that in mind, so
that's true. And you think about, I see all the guys come in with other trucks. You're on a job site, it's going to get scratched, and then all of a sudden you get the rust. All of a sudden these scratches get down, you get rust. You're not going to get that in a Cybertruck. So that body's going to last a lot longer. And I see a lot of guys who have to come in here changing out fender walls, changing out the bed of their truck, all sorts of different things they have to do, and those costs that go into it that they don't have to do with the Cybertruck. And then we got Raymond here. What about a used Tesla? So, and for those of you guys who have seen maybe used Model Ys right now are actually more expensive than new ones. So I've looked at a couple of used ones. The point where I'm at right now with a used one is, hardware 3 is still good. So I would want to make sure it has hardware 3 in it, which I believe all Model Ys do. But I do know, like, my buddy who has one of the very first Model Ys that were delivered here on the East Coast, his wife just got one last year, and hers has better hardware and overall features than his does. So I don't know about going with the used one. So I'd have to find if there was a good enough price, I would do it. Yeah, I don't know about that one though. I still want new.
You want the latest, greatest. You got to test it out for the channel, right?
That's kind of where I'm at, and I don't mind if I'm going to do it. I'm going to go big or go home. That's kind of where I'm going with this. So that's, yeah. I'd
it's
go
an investment either way, Tim.
That's true.
Tesla or your channel.
And yeah. So I mean, for me, I don't have a huge a long commute. Hold on one second here. So I don't have a long commute, so it's not like I'm saving a ton in gas. So for me, it is a true new expense, and I'm just kind of, yeah. But like you said, I can use it for the channel. I mean, if you guys don't know, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm doing a bunch of shorts that I'm going to be doing for here. And I think when I get the vehicle, it's going to be, even though it's been around for a while, new ownership type stuff. Hey, here are the cool features that I have found in the vehicle. Here's some to-do stuff. Here's some, little things that you can do. And I know there's tons of other people out there that do that, but it's something I can also do and add another little piece of it to my content. And that's kind of what I want to do. And getting the latest, greatest, and getting the FSD to go along with it on a monthly basis, I can just give that kind of real world feedback is big.
I think a lot of folks in the Tesla circle or community knows all the feature and even the autopilot. We think, it's old technology, but trust me, a lot of my friends just bought Tesla because of the recent sale, and they don't use autopilot. And I tell them, hey, try it out. It's like, even though it may not be full self-driving, but it's one of the best things for your trip if you're going from NorCal to Southern California. And trust me, there's so many people out there that I see on the road just manually driving, and they just a little bit of a hack on how to drive. Use autopilot. I think you can make good use and have it being very safe for you on the road, right? So I feel like there's still a lot of audience that can be reached, just like with Tesla, right? We still have a lot of consumer that they can reach to scale out to. So I think we're still in the early phase of adoption. So
Oh, I fully agree. And that's one of the things that I thought about also is, when you're in the Teslaverse, we all know what everybody else knows. But when you take yourself out of it, you forget that there's some people who don't even know Tesla exists. Like it's mind-boggling how little information is out there. When you're in it, it just seems like everybody knows it because you're in a community where everybody knows it. But you're absolutely right on that. So being able to put that content out there, which I don't see a lot on Facebook, I don't see a lot on Instagram. So if I can put that kind of content out there to really kind of educate people on and platforms that, for me, I don't have big Tesla followings. All the people that follow me on those platforms are obstacle course racers, people who are gym owners, personal trainers. So it's a whole different world that I could actually reach out to and educate on this stuff.
Yeah, and you know where they are talking about it. I don't listen to much of it these days, but lots of new music may make my ears hurt, but can't help but notice they keep talking about Tesla. Every hot artist, type Tesla next to their name, and they're mentioning it in their song. So I think that the next generation is really going to be all in, as far as they're going to want to own Teslas. Like I've talked to a bunch of kids too that that's all they're talking about in school. They want a Tesla. Nobody wants a Corvette. They don't want, all these other kinds of cars. So I think, a lot of these legacy companies, they're just they're not appealing to that generation. So I don't know where their future sales are going to come from at this rate.
Yep.
I
the
don't
kids gotta
remember
have their TikTok on screen.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was last year at the Super Bowl or I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years, maybe 3 now, where they asked all the players in the before game interviews, what's your dream car? And like all of them, but maybe 1 or 2 said Tesla. I am getting one, or I have one and I love it.
Oh yeah.
And it was crazy to think that your dream car is now a mass produced car. It's a people car.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy because and as Vin said, when you're talking to younger kids, this is what they're going to grow up with. Think about 10, 15 years ago, kids were growing up with iPhones. So they had these iPhones that were out, and that's what they grew up with. Yeah. And so nowadays, this is just part of their life. So a Tesla is going to be the same way. You go back to the 60s, when you had the Corvettes and everything coming, these kids saw these awesome cars out there, and it was their dream. When I grow up, I want to have one of these. And this is exactly what we're seeing with a generational push now. And like Brian said, it's not just going to be that niche vehicle. It's going to be a mass-produced vehicle where everybody can get it. It's not like, oh, I want to get a Corvette. It's, I want to get a Tesla, and there's multiple varieties that I can choose from.
Right. Yeah. It's that. And it's also that, they're calling it's a computer on wheels, but really it's more than that, because the next generation of what a car is going to be is a living room on wheels. And who is making the most compelling living room on wheels right now? There's only one company who's putting entertainment in there. I mean, they have Steam, the video games, so you can watch Netflix in there. That's a curve too. And I have a feeling, sneaking suspicion, that can't help but notice it seems like Apple is really trying to force their way in there. They're a little late, but between Apple CarPlay, the rumored Apple Car, they know where the future's heading, and they obviously are definitely investing in that. So, if you think living rooms on wheels are the future, what other car can you really do that in right now?
Oh yeah. And you think about, if you're going to a charging station, even if you're only there for 20 minutes, if you're not doing anything else, pop on something on your screen, watch some Netflix, watch some Apple TV, and because if you're going to start a show while you're in your car charging, you're going to have to finish it at some point. So you're going to need that on another platform at home, or you'll watch it the next time you charge. It's just getting people onto that platform is what's going to be the big piece next.
How about what really fascinated me and took me by surprise? I did a Twitter poll a couple weeks ago. I was writing an article on Tesla, and I was just thinking, I want to hear from people who own Teslas. Is it more less convenient than a gas car? And I kind of just assumed, you'd get the standard responses. It's great, except for road trips, long distances, stuff like that. And yet a lot of people were actually saying they love it for a road trip. It's actually superior just because, they found between the way the charging is done and if they were using full self-driving. With full self-driving, they were saying where before you do a long road trip, 8 hours plus, you're exhausted when you get to wherever your destination is. Whereas with the FSD, it's not as strenuous and stressful to be lasered in on the road at all times. Obviously, you got to keep your eyes on the road, but there's definitely something to that. And then with the charging, lot of people were saying how like it's good because again, they felt better. It gets them out of the car. They got to like walk around, and it's really not too much of an inconvenience, because by the time you're going to fill up your gas tank, get food, and go to the bathroom anyway, the car's charged in 20 minutes, a decent amount. And that was really my only, going into it, I thought that would be where you get a lot of negativity. Everything else was positive. It's way more convenient in every way. Can't imagine going back to gas stations. I don't know if Brian, if you have a Tesla, but I do not. But it was really interesting to hear from people.
I don't, because I have 4 kids, and we haven't had yet a chance to try out and see if the 7-seat Model Y would fit us. And frankly, we can't afford it. So we're still in our 2016 Nissan Quest, the 3rd sexiest minivan out of Japan.
Yeah. I have a 2018 Toyota Camry, which is supposed to last me 20 years. So that's my hesitation too. Tesla stock, Tesla the car.
Yeah, I'm right on the edge. My CRV is a 2016. I've got 177,000 miles on it. So still running great. I have no problems with it, but it's right at that point where I'm like, probably a good time to trade in.
Yeah, I got my Model Y when actually I was the original Model 3 reservation holder, but I pushed it all the way out until now because I invested in some real estate and Tesla and said, kind of pushing that urge out until I actually have a child, and just bought that car because we took delivery because of the safety feature. Yeah. And on the note of the road trip that you were talking about, my wife, when we went from Northern California to Southern California, the Kettleman City supercharger station has a lounge, right? So my wife said, this is the best feature of Tesla. It's like, I don't have to run around, find a bathroom to change diapers for my child. I just go into the lounge. It's easy, accessible. It's clean. It's convenient. Take my time. My car is charging. Like, this is a thing, because usually we would just run to like an Arco gas station to use the bathroom, or a Starbucks or a McDonald's, where the bathrooms are,
questionable,
hit or miss, right? Yeah. But with a newborn, it made huge difference for us in terms of our commute. And I wish, and I hope in the future, maybe Tesla can expand that lounge service to, because I don't think there's other lounges in other supercharger station. So if they can expand that, even if I have to pay a small fee to access it as a Tesla customer, I would totally do it for that.
That's almost like flying. When you're flying, it's like,
exactly
same thing.
So I went to the Kettleman City supercharger, which is, the beautiful lounge. And when I went in, I was making a video and doing all that. And then the barista there, because I bought coffee, I said, you probably see an awful lot of me's, don't you? She's like, yeah. You guys are in here all the time with your cameras and checking it out, because it is a cool space. I would love to see more of those. I'm still waiting to find out where that drive-in movie theater is coming to Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, supposedly,
yeah, that'll be a neat one. We tried to see when we were there for the LA Auto Show and the Peterson Auto Museum event. We tried to scout around and see if we could figure out where it was going to be, but we were unsuccessful. Tim, I do need to get going because I got my show in a couple hours, and I got to get finished with all my prep. Congratulations again on 10,000. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, it's your job to get him closer to 11,000.
Yes. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you hanging out with us.
Take care, my friend.
Oh, let me see. Oh, and as Jerry says here, people can't steal a Tesla and get away. I mean, other good features, yes. Let me see.
The use cases just multiplying. That's really interesting to hear your story. And there's just so many things we're not even thinking of that there's benefits.
Right. Yeah, like what other car companies, maybe, I never owned a super luxury car, so I don't know if there's such experience for maybe a Mercedes-Benz or a Lambo or anything like that. But, something that's going to be common and economical for people, for the common people.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Well, I think that's the piece that sets them apart. Is like you said, I've been in some higher end vehicles, and sure, there's some awesome features in them. You get a high end Corvette, you've got some cool features in there. But when you can get cool features like that in some cases are even cooler in a vehicle that is for the common person, and you're going to have them when they come out with that lower priced vehicle. Like you're going to get luxury for less. I used to work at the Edge Fitness Clubs, which I know is starting to go nationwide. And I would always compare them to like a Planet Fitness because it was the same price on a monthly basis, but it was like paying for it was like getting a sports vehicle, but paying for, something cheap, like a cheap little, shit box. So, that was the big difference right there. And that's going to be what it's like for Tesla. Like you can get a luxury for the price of a common vehicle. Michael, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Michael's one of my members as well. Thank you, sir. And actually, where is it? Jay Lizard had a good question too. So, and I know we've seen a lot more of these. What percentage of Teslas are painted white? Anthony, I know I've been seeing a lot in California that are white right now.
Yeah. My wife takes her car to work, and she had a hard time identifying her cars because they're all Tesla Model Y white standard color, right, with basic trim. So I was just a lot everywhere.
But you know what, though? What's great about Tesla is when you get the smart park feature and you have the car just pull itself up to you, you don't have to worry about picking the right one. Where did I park? Doesn't matter. The car will come to you.
Yeah. And being able to drive the car, in a large parking spot, that's good too.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I got to run as well, but congratulations to 10K.
Thank you, sir.
Here's to another 10K. And at this rate, I think you'll get to 100. So congrats.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work. Awesome talking to you guys.
Have a good one. What else we got here? So Anthony, you said you had yours for a few months now?
Since October. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Let me see what else we got for questions here. Thanks for joining us. This is cool. I like having these.
Yeah, man. Sorry for being late again.
No, not a problem. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these open forums on a regular basis, and it's going to be an open door. People can come and go as they please. Jump in late, come in early, whatever you need to do.
Did we talk about Investor Day already?
A little bit, but we can certainly dive back into it. Because we were talking about how it's really going to be about mass scale. And when it comes to mass scale, like my thought is really three big components for it is vehicles, energy, and batteries. What do you think else we're going to see for Investor Day?
I'm hoping to see some small progress in Optimus. That's the one product that I'm super optimistic about.
And it's funny because like there hasn't been any talk of Optimus lately at all.
They're just building
Semi, Cybertruck, Investor Day, the stock,
just
everything.
So many. Yeah. And initially I invested in Tesla because I believed number one, sustainable energy is one thing, but like I'm super into the technology aspect of things and how it can change and improve our lives and people's lives. I think and they're doing that again and again and again. And just looking at their product roadmap, it's just an amazing. They'll hit some bumps along the way, right? A lot of doubters, but just the progress that's been made the last couple of years is kind of insane. And thinking down to the level of manufacturing, even stamping, and it's just crazy, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things I think about too is getting Optimus. And for me, like people are talking about getting Optimus into homes and doing around. And I think that's awesome. But the real big game changer I think is going to happen when they have it helping them in the factories. And you can see this functionality, and then they see cost cutting. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing how it can actually realistically replace labor in a lot of areas. That's going to take over because from a business owner standpoint, labor is usually the biggest expense. So if you can save a ton on labor by replacing one person with Optimus, you can realistically replace 3 people with Optimus. You're replacing 3 shifts with one Optimus robot. I mean, that's a massive game changer right there.
And I bet you Elon came up with that idea when he had production hell in 2019, where he had to kind of turn it back from all the automation that didn't work. And then, that's.
So I have no doubt. And then I know for him, and like you can almost see the light bulb go off in his head when they were starting to solve FSD, and he realized that by hitting all the roadblocks that they hit, they needed to solve AI. And if they were going to solve AI for cars, it was going to be the same exact thing as solving AI for humanoid robots. So that I can guarantee that light bulb went off and he's like, let's go for it. We have to do it. We've got to do it at the same time. And we've got to build a robot, because building the robot itself isn't going to be as challenging as solving artificial intelligence. So if they can get that to a point where it's functional enough, when AI is solved, they can immediately put it in there. And as Top Hat is asking here, do you think the military are speaking to Tesla about FSD? I think that it needs to be rephrased. I think it would be more about, do you think the military is speaking to Tesla about AI? And that is going to be a huge piece, because like FSD and AI are going hand in hand. So if you're talking about vehicles going into military zones and getting into, difficult places that are going to be driven by themselves and not actually have humans in them, we already see that with drones. Elon's more on the side of no war. Obviously, you can't avoid it entirely, but I don't know if he would go that route, honestly. But I have no doubt that they're going to be putting AI. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that is definitely the bigger concern, because I think, once AI is solved, you can basically use AI to figure out how to build the robots, right? Down to just the modeling and everything. So I think running simulation, if you have AI to observe the simulation and readjust the simulation, that's like essentially, removing the other components where they have engineers now reviewing, or people reviewing the simulation. Right? So, and I think they're thinking along that line as well.
Yeah, and I think like we're now at the phase where humans are creating AI. What's really going to be the game changer is when AI is creating AI, and that will be when things really take off. But that's the same point. That's where it's going to get scary. So that's where a lot of people are hesitant, and why Elon's like, you got to put regulations in there, because you start getting to that point and you start getting into things like, like the Marvel movies and what the heck is his name? I just watched it the other day. But yeah, it could get scary when robots start thinking and taking over. Yeah, Raymond, Tesla bot may make a good host on YouTube. Hey, I'll have Optimus on as a guest all the time. No problems.
Hey, Tim, I gotta jump, but thanks for having me.
Maybe Anthony, no problem. Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll chat again soon.
Have a good one.
Bye.
All right. And I'm probably going to get off myself in a minute, guys, but I'm going to go through all your comments here. And thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Fun celebration. I appreciate this. Oh, here we go, King. I don't know why my TV keeps going off like that. I got to figure out what's going on with that. King 901, Tesla back to lower levels again. Ask for friend. You guys know my thoughts on it. So my thoughts, and actually, you know what? I can bring it up as well. Let me see where I put it. Where is it? I shall find the charts in a moment. Let me do this and this. There we go. All right. Now we're back up and running. So checking out the charts here. So we did go red. Now, as I said to you guys, I was anticipating a pullback coming. So sure enough, we've got RSI is down to 68. That is now back to under overbought. But as we have seen through the past history, whenever we have been overbought, we have bounced our way down to oversold. Now, again, not sure that's going to happen this time around, but we have been seeing those swings. So my thoughts are, we've got these gaps below us. We had this gap here that was created yesterday, filled right up today. And then we've got this gap down to 146. And there was a tiny little gap here, which I believe, yep, that also got filled today at 196. So all these gaps up top got filled. We've got them down below. If we get the same pull down like we did before, and we end up pulling down to an oversold range, we will fill these gaps and probably fill this one down to 114. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But that's kind of where I'm at right now in my thought process, is that could be a direction that we go. This is why I've been saving up a bunch of cash. But and as Gavin says here, love that V shape. And while that V shape is nice, seeing as where the economy is right now, it's not ideal for a V-shaped recovery. That's the problem I'm seeing, is the disconnect. We were disconnected on the way down when we hit 101, and we're now disconnected, in my opinion, on the way back up. I know Karav said he is seeing it. I think he said 200 to 225 as his fair market value for it. And I'm not going to disagree with that. But when I am looking at a fair market value in an economy that is not fair, it's hard to get a true fair market value on it. And that's the problem I'm seeing. It's just we don't have a fair market at the moment. It's an unfair market. It is a brutal market to be in right now. So trying to get anything consistent, you don't see consistency unless we've got an actual true bull market that we are in, and we are not there. You know, when you're looking at that run that we had from like 2011 to 2020, right before COVID hit, you had your ups and downs. That's normal to happen, but it was a relatively smooth progress on an upward trend, and you didn't get a lot of big movements on a daily basis. But right now, with the market that we're in, I mean, that's why you saw, we were up over 100% in less than a month on Tesla. It's not realistic, folks. I love it. Absolutely. And if you caught it at 101 and ran all the way up, good for you. Awesome. I know I bought a whole bunch down at 110. So yeah, but again, to me, this is going to be an awesome year to buy a ton of stock, which, going back to what we were talking about before, I kind of want to put my money into the stock instead of a vehicle as much as I want the vehicle. So I think as the year plays on, I'll just see how things go. And I'll be able to test it for you guys too. Anybody who's looking to get a vehicle right now, when I first had my reservation last year, they allowed me to kick the can down the road a few times. So I'll see if they allow that again, or if they're going to be strict about it and say, no, you can only delay it once, and then you have to take delivery. So I'll at least be able to test some things out for you guys on that aspect from the consumer standpoint. Top Hat Elon said megapacks will be nickel as well. Everyone on the internet are LFP brainwashed. I did hear something about nickel. I heard something else, another conspiracy that was coming out for the megapacks and the batteries about another. I don't know if it was a tungsten. No, man. Connecting the Dots had posted it on Twitter. I'd have to find it for you guys. Actually, let me see if I can find it right now. But there was something about like somebody was really digging deep into conspiracy theory stuff on it. It was kind of awesome to find all this stuff out. Let me see if I can find this for you guys on here. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see, get my screen up. You guys can see Twitter. How many of you guys out there do use Twitter? I know a lot more users are out there using Twitter right now. Just curious as to how many of you guys are doing it. Wow, going with Inception here, huh? Let me do it this way. Why is it doing that? Not sure why. See if this fixes it. Nope, not fixing it. I shall solve this in a moment. All right. I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so there's a lot of other things that I think we might end up seeing on there we go, much better. So for Investor Day, we might see some things about different types of batteries. Let me see here. I'll find Connecting the Dots. If you guys don't follow Connecting the Dots, definitely recommend following him as well. I've been chatting with him. He's working on a pretty big project right now. And I will be having him on here as a guest. So once he is done with his project, I will get him on here for you guys. Revenue scale. Now, where is it? I don't know. I'll find it. We'll chat about other things. But I might be getting off in a minute too. It's been an awesome time with you guys. Yeah, Karav. The Twitter Tesla community is awesome. It's a lot of, think about, it's almost like a lounge. Like you just go to a lounge, you're like your favorite bar, lounge, whatever, and you're hanging out with all of your friends that are all hanging out talking about Tesla and all sorts of other cool stuff. That's really good. Michael Romero, thumbs down on Twitter. Why? Just out of curiosity. And I'm open to suggestions and thoughts from everybody's standpoint. So I am never one to judge anyone for anything. So just curious as to why the thumbs down on Twitter. Really, Gavin never used Twitter either. This is good. And this is something for a lot of people to remember too. When there was, gosh, and for those of you guys who are on Twitter, you know that there was so much Twitter drama that was going on from November through December. And one of the things that Elon had spoken about was not everyone uses Twitter. It's actually got a relatively small user base compared to the entire world's population. And there's a lot of people who don't give a crap about it. So, when everybody was talking about, all of this, and going back to when you're in the Tesla verse, you hear everybody talking about the same things, and you just assume everyone knows what you know, forgetting about that it's everybody in that specific community knows what you know. But you go outside that community, and there's a lot of people who have no idea because they're not there. And you guys who aren't on Twitter, get the same exact thing. William, Twitter's a popularity contest. I mean, you're not wrong. A lot of social media is that way. That's why, I'm so proud of myself, and thank you guys for your support to get to a point where, 10,000 subscribers on the channel. Because if you're late to the game in a lot of these things, it's a lot harder to get that ball rolling. And, for a popularity contest, I don't like it. I am an introvert myself. And quite honestly, if I can live in, a mountain somewhere away from everyone, that would be awesome. But, I love hanging out with you guys here and going into like the popularity places and hanging out with people and having to be the center of attention. Nah, it's not my thing, which is weird to say because I make these videos and love hanging out with you guys, but like I'm doing it from the comfort of my own home and not going out to a bar. Just never used it. Oh, that's cool. No problems. Again, it's not like not like you need to. It's funny to see a lot of you guys, and a lot of you guys who are members as well who do not use Twitter. Hey, that's good to know. Michael, I'm more old school like my age. Yeah, it is. I'm in the middle there. At 43 years old, I've got that. I know some technology, and I know much more technology than my parents, but like my kid knows more technology than I do. And there's some areas that I'm really good at and some that I just really struggle with. And I'm right in the middle there. So yeah, and I fully feel you on that one. Gavin, actually, I hear about tweets through YouTube channels. That's a great point. When people ask me if I have TikTok, which I am going to break down because of how I'm trying to grow my business and because TikTok is a place where I can actually promote it relatively well, I am going to go on there, sad to say. But when people ask me, hey, did you see the TikTok video? I'm like, no, I'm not on TikTok. If the TikTok video is good enough, I'll see it on another platform. Thanks. And that's exactly the same thing right there. Let me see. You guys are having a good conversation here about materials and stuff. Jay talking to Raymond. I think the industrial use is diminishing for platinum. It's rarer than gold, but actually cheaper. There are probably incredible use for platinum that will emerge now, and it's cheap. And then Raymond, maybe redwood recycling, including all of the material percentage. So that's a big thing too. If you guys didn't see it, JB Straubel obviously is one of the co-founders of Tesla, and he's got redwood materials, battery recycling. He said that they don't have a partnership that he can speak of right now. So I don't know if they're talking about it, but he's still friends with Elon. So they're definitely in contact with each other on a regular basis. So I have no doubt they're going to be working with each other in the future. I'm wondering if maybe redwood materials is something that Tesla is going to buy in the future. Now, thinking about a 4D chess game, and you guys, I don't know if somebody else has said it, but this is me spitballing it right now for the first time. Let's say redwood materials and JB Straubel left because where Tesla was at financially, they could not create a battery recycling facility like a redwood materials with the finances that they had. So JB left to go and create this whole entire company of redwood materials to do the battery recycling that Tesla wants to do anyway. Now, fast forward to 2026, where batteries become more prevalent, they need more mass scaling. Tesla then goes and buys redwood materials. JB Straubel then becomes a high-level management person over at Tesla again, and they bring them back together, and they wouldn't have been able to do that if Tesla was still trying to do it themselves versus Redwood Materials branching out and doing it on their own. That's going to be my future conspiracy theory of Elon playing 4D chess. So that is my thought on that one, and we'll see how that plays out over the next few years. But that is my thought on that one. And yes, Redwood is opening a factory in South Carolina. And then the question that was asked was, where are they getting the batteries? So for you guys who don't know, they recycle literally every battery. So it's not like they have to take car batteries. They can take cell phone batteries. They can take lithium-ion batteries that go into power tools. Anything that has the materials for the battery components that they need, they can recycle that. So even we're at the point right now where maybe some of the original Teslas are starting to need battery replacements, and they can take those. Those are just starting to trickle in, but they can take a ton of other materials that they have out there for batteries and use those as well. Let's see here. Karav, Tesla Model Y inventory down to 170. It's crazy, man. That's crazy. And again, like I said, I have not gotten a date on mine. And Karav, I think, is out in Chicago, I believe is what he said. Correct me if I'm wrong, but out there, I'll have to check the inventory in my area. I'll do a double check again tomorrow. But yeah, that's it's crazy to see inventory that low. So if they're starting to push out a bunch of the delivery dates, I would imagine that they are going to be seeing prices going up again. Yes, Raymond. JB was the chief technology officer at Tesla. And him being the potential replacement for Elon, I thought about that too. Back when we were having those discussions about Tom Zhu coming over and taking over as CEO, and then them having people in mind for it, JB was one of the ones I thought about, him coming in to take over. So I think that could be a very, I think we might see a very interesting decade with something like that happen. Jay Lizard, thank you so much for that super sticker. Appreciate it, sir. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'll stay on for a few more minutes just to hang out with you guys because I love hanging out with you guys. Yeah, stock coming down under the 200 mark today. Actually, I'm curious as to that level. Yeah, so we finished 207. I thought I had a level in the middle here. No, it's 192. So we finished above 192. So we're kind of in the middle, which is relatively normal for going into a weekend, finishing kind of right in the middle. $10 Model Y available in the 200-mile range of Chicago. Jesus. Yeah, and so I'm in Connecticut, so I can see Rhode Island, Boston, and New York. So I've got the whole, New England area. So there's a lot of decent sized cities around me, and New York is a big one. So strange enough, there's one of the facilities in New York that only will do deliveries for New York residents. Connecticut does not allow it, which is crazy because Connecticut is usually right behind California when it comes to regulations and allowing things. And because they are also tied up with a lot of legacy auto stuff here and dealerships here in Connecticut, they're fighting that. So it's going to be a pain in the butt. However, I can go to Rhode Island, which is closer to me. I can go to Boston, which I don't really want to go to. And New York is right by my friend. So there is one place in New York, which is closer that I can do that. Let me see. Mike, I think we maxed the likes today. I think we did too. And I like you guys all in return. So thank you. Let me see. Oh, any comment on Nikola's reckless vehicle? Is this something new or is this the old one? I do not know. I'm not familiar with that. If you want to educate me on it, I am totally down. Jay, go get some Doritos. I actually have half of my Subway wrap and a chocolate chip cookie waiting for me. That's usually what you guys on my Friday evenings. That's usually what I do is I will go to Subway just because I don't have as much time because I get out of work at like 5:15 if I'm lucky, and I'm about 10 minutes from home. So to be able to run out, grab my food, and then come back here versus having to make something is much more convenient. So I treat myself a little bit. And yes, Subway is a treat for me. It's funny. I talk to my friends and they're like, like why do you live in such a small apartment? Why do you do this and that? And I'm like, it's like, look, I was like, I take my money and I invest it because that is what I'm trying to help other people do is go out there and first off, if you are in debt, I can help people get out of that. I'm not a financial advisor, but dang, I've got some great ideas and I've done it for myself. So I can guide you in that right direction to get out of debt. And my most important thing is like, guys like Karav and my son and younger guys, I'm like, the more important thing and the better thing to do is not get yourself into debt to begin with. If you have younger children or, if you're planning on having children, highly recommend getting yourself a side gig. I'm a Beachbody coach. I have this channel. I have other sources of income. If you have a side gig, you can write your child off regardless of age. Actually, I think it's 3. Check with your accountants because it's different in different states. So always check with an accountant, but you can then write them off, and you can write them off up to, in some cases, $12,500 here in the US. If you do that, you can take half of that, take $6,500, put it into an IRA. You put that into a Roth IRA from a young age. By the time they hit 30, if you put it in every single year, by the time they hit 30, they'll have $1 million in the bank. And they'll have this for a future retirement fund that they can do what they want with. In an IRA, you can take out up to $10,000 and use it on a down payment for a house. So this is great information to be able to get your children or yourself, depending on where you are, to a place where when you start your real adulthood and trying to go out there and be on your own, you'll have enough money to be able to do so and not have to start by going into debt initially. And that's one of the things I'm trying to help people with now is being able to start their adulthood lives in a place where they can actually thrive and not just cling on for dear life and hope that they get to a point where they can get to a place of retirement, because so few places now will actually give you a retirement. Nowadays, retirement is all on you. You've got to invest. You have to put money into a 401k, put it into an IRA. I put money into my HSA. You have to invest it if you ever want to retire, unless you want to work until you're dead. And I personally don't want to do that. And that's kind of where I'm at. Any thoughts on ABML? Their CEO worked for Tesla too. ABML. Why do I not know ABML? I do not know ABML. I apologize for being uneducated on ABML. I am going to Google this real hot. ABML, American Battery Technology Company. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. That is good information. And some of the things that I think about, and and as William said here, if they can make it happen, seems like Tesla would buy it quick. Elon has said himself that he is not opposed to buying other companies. So if there's a company out there that he thinks would benefit them, the problem Elon has with a lot of companies that are out there it's like, as he saw with Twitter, obviously he learned it hard with Solar City, but that was a family thing. But by buying another company, you have to first take their problems, erase their problems, and then build over again. It's kind of like what Legacy Auto is doing. Many times it's better to build from the ground up. But if a company can go out there and build from the ground up in a very good way, then it's less work to break it down and rebuild it. So, if Elon can do it with Twitter, if a company like ABML can come out here and do it in a cleaner fashion so it's not as much cleanup work, then I definitely can see Tesla buying it. Let's see. ABML promises nearly 100% recycling of battery and materials. Redwood is the same way. So, Redwood, ABML, these companies who are doing it, good for them. I think that's awesome. And that's one of the things that a lot of the bears fought on before was, like the mines that are out there, cobalt and lithium and all this stuff. It's like, but you look down the road 20, 30 years, nothing's going to be mines. everything is going to be recycled, and you won't need to. You can just keep on using the same materials over and over and over again. Let me see. Karav, concerning that Tesla inventory in Europe is now showing 3,600. And again, I remember we were having this conversation the other day about, is that boats hitting and they just haven't been delivered to certain countries? Really curious as to how that'll play out. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. So keep us posted on that, Karav, as you see that information coming over. All right. That is about it, folks. It is 7:30. I'm going to be getting off of here. Thank you guys so much. 10,000 subscribers. I truly, truly appreciate that. Looking forward to the next 10,000. Ian here, thank you. Congratulations on 10K subs, Tim. Here's to 20K. Ian, fan from England. And Ian, you'll have to remind me. I don't know if it's Ian or Ian. So I don't know how you guys pronounce it over in the UK. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you over the weekend at some point. And I will be most likely shaving my head this weekend. I'm going to try to. I've got to go get my razor. It's supposed to be on Monday, but I might go buy one anyway over the weekend. So you may see a last-minute live stream coming on so I can shave the little bit of hair that I have left on my head.